Hello, we're back with the captain's table with the question and answer session, the After Dark section, with Sinful Strife and Apollo Not. You missed our discussion on the new player experience of Star Citizen. I'll have that link above Sinful Strife right there if you're on YouTube. Just click that link right above, and you can go watch that there. Some of these questions will be in discussions. Will be sort of similar to this, to like related to stuff we talked about there. But without any further ado, let's get started. These are questions asked from the chat, and I'll say Sin and Apollo, since y'all haven't been here since we've had the bot. If you go to the Content Creators Discord, if you go to the Captain's Table section, you'll see a thing that says Question Bot. That is where all of the questions are being that have been asked are there. So you can actually read through and see what people asked specifically. If I screw up the stuff, I'll go through and add like a little thumbs up to say we've answered it or not. So let's get with the first question from Escape, who asks, Fastcart is writing down everyone's questions. It just picks up every time you put a question in there. So Gin and Tonic asks, question, how many times have people told you the way to do something is by hitting Alt F4?
A lot. A lot, so much, and I fell for it one time by a Dadbot Nerd. He rated me, and Dadbot Nerd was one of the first people that I met playing Star Citizen, and he's actually helped me a lot with, like, my stream and everything, and I had some type of, like, bug in my ship, and I know what Alt F4 does,
Yeah.
and I don't know why, but for some reason, coming from him, I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, let me try it." Boop, and then I'm like, "Oh, I don't even know why I fell for that." So no, it happens quite a bit.
I I have done that multiple times playing Star Citizen where chat has told me to do that. I've been like, oh sure, yeah, that's a great idea. And then I did it out of reflex and was like, wait, and then
Yep, yep. Because you trust them. You
yes.
trust them, not knowing that, they just wanna see you fail.
Well, as Cupan puts it, you say, oh, you put alt, then use third person.
Yep,
Yep.
yep.
Those
No,
who
that's
know,
that's night vision.
F
We all know
F
that that's the night vision key.
yeah, F4 is the third person key. So if you just say, oh yeah, to use night vision, just alt and hit the third person key and it'll turn on night vision. Woo! All right. Yeah, that's what they hit me with was, well, how do you wipe the faceplate off? Because I think it's like Alt X, I think is what it is
Yep.
to wipe the faceplate. So they said, oh yeah, Alt third person will do it. And I was like, oh, why did I do that? So
Pain.
Commander Shadowstalker asks, if you're familiar with the Skyrim / Fallout modding community, would you want CIG to onboard?
Ooh.
Would you want CIG to onboard to
Who would
make
you?
additions? Oh, who would you? Okay, would you want CIG to onboard to make additions to either the game character creator, and what features do you want them to bring in? So basically, like, what kind of features would you want from like Fallout or Skyrim for character creators? I mean, just making the character creator a character creator instead of a face creator, it would be a big one. The problem
Easier
is,
sliders.
yeah,
Mhm.
the problem is that I know what would happen. The moment you have height and weight sliders, you're going to see a lot of 6 foot tall, rail thin people and like 4'2" gigantic people that'll just wander around. I play those games, so I know what people do with those sliders. So it's
Like Elden Ring.
there's a reason why there's I forgot who does this, but there's a YouTube group that does a show called Monster Factory, where it's just them going into character creators and seeing what kind of crazy person they can create, because you basically make monsters out of them. So, Sin, what would you do? Like, what features would you bring in for Star Citizen character creator?
Yeah, like more like sliders and then like hair stuff. Like I very rarely take my helmet off, but I think just having more hair options and being able to like put different hairs together, I think would be nice. At least for me.
Paula?
Yeah, I mean more hair, more beards, more options for facial hair. Um I mean, they're getting there. We have more hair coming in the next patch, right? Or we
Yeah.
had more hair coming in this patch. More variants of hair. Like Sinful, are you able to get anything resembling your hair going in the game?
No, not even
We
close.
need something like that. Uh, more like ponytails, more dreads, more braids, more like punk stuff. I mean, we have like a couple of spiky hair things. I want to see more punk stuff. Um, yeah, it's almost there.
It's getting better. And
Oh yeah,
they definitely have the stream set up like to be able to like put more hair stuff in. All right, Chimpasta asks question: thoughts on the new resource drive missions? Good, bad, or meh? I want to put this in caveat. I like the idea, and I like the missions that they have when they work. The problem is they don't work, and the transport stuff fails half the time. So it's like I'm playing a game for several hours and rolling the dice to see if the elevators I'm using work. I'm sure it's fine if you're a miner, because like with mining, you can just go mining the resources and go process them and just go drop them off. And it's usually, I imagine the hardest part would be the dropping them off part, but you know, it seems like it'd be fine. Apollo, what do you think? What's your experience on that?
I've been watching the subreddit talking about this event, and it seems like every single day there's some long rant post about if only this worked.
Hmm.
And that's all that I've been seeing really. I mean, it's yeah, as I'm doing mining is fine. I've got some people doing that in the org. Um, but sourcing the materials otherwise, I think they lowered the spawn rate if you were to do ship combat looking for those materials in the loot as cargo in the cargo ships. Um, so it's less reliable than it used to be. Um, People are griefing the pads at outposts, just taking big ships and just ramming other people out of the way for no good reason. Um, Although that the number of people trying this mission is so big that like yeah, you're gonna have some people getting griefed. But that's gonna be like 1 to 2% of the interactions in the game. You're gonna have all of these people succeeding that aren't complaining. Um, I've seen some people able to complete all of the corporations all the way through. It's like what 2,000, 3,000 SCU
Yeah,
or
3,000
something.
each. Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, people are having success. They're just not being loud about it.
Yeah.
The
Well,
people who
the
are
rule of thumb is if someone's complaining, if someone's talking about it, they're not having a good time. The people who are having a good time aren't going to talk about it because they're going to play the game. You know.
right. So I mean, I think it's an interesting idea for a mission system. Um, PvE. It's not even combat necessarily. For a long time, people were like, "Can CIG develop any mission without combat? You know, hard mode." Um, so yeah, it's nice just being able to find resources and deliver them. I guess having some sort of reward for that that's permanently account bound. Like, awesome, great, more of that, please.
Sin, your experiences with the new event.
I think for me, there's mainly like 2 to 3 things that come to mind. The first one being that this is where I really feel like playing with other players comes into play. Because if you're not a hauling person, you don't really like hauling, I like being able to share those missions and for you to also get credit for that stuff is really cool. I've had some of my most wholesome player experiences with other people in the game from doing this mission event, from just like simply like helping people like load and unload their stuff, like, something I wouldn't have ever like seen before. But I think the other thing for me, I think it's good. Like it's frustrating that, sometimes you go to an elevator and it doesn't work and you have to have, someone tell you the workaround about it. But I think at the end of the day, for me, the way that I view it is like obviously the game is an alpha, so they need a a boatload of people to test this stuff to see how they can fix it, how they can improve it. And so anytime I find myself getting a little bit frustrated, I just try to remind myself of that, of like, hey, they're maybe doing this so they can fix it because they know this stuff doesn't work. And that's kind of how I calm myself down. But I do have to, rage inside a little bit when I go to three different places and none of them works. And it's like, well, how can I do the event? Please.
See, I think that's the most frustrating part about me about it is that like I know people are enjoying it and getting it done, and when I encounter like face punching like problems, I
Mhm.
feel like I want to enjoy this. I want to play this. Like this is the sort of thing I do. I'm a cargo hauler. This is the sort of thing I've been waiting for. And when it was working earlier on, I'm like, this is good. I'll kind of pop in every so often. And then I started popping in on the off time, and I'm like, well, this is taking longer than I thought. And then started failing, and I was like, man, I don't know if I want to like dedicate 4 hours of my day to do the three missions and have one of them fail when I
Yeah.
wanted to. Yeah.
Especially when it's inconsistent, because 'cause I've had, like, elevators work for me, but not work for anyone else in my party, and
Yeah.
that same elevator, like, maybe works for them, but then it doesn't work for me, so that's also the kinda, like, frustrating part as well. It's like, it's not consistent, so I can't say, "Hey, come over here, this one works," because it might not work for you.
It's one of those situations where it's not the design, it's technical. Like
Mhm.
the failure is in the technical application rather than the design of the missions. There's some problems with them, like the bottlenecking and only putting them in certain places, and they could have done things like put some of these missions in resource distribution centers, because those distribution centers have like 11 hangars or 11 elevators and 2 hangars typically in those places. So at least you'd have more people able to do them, where the outposts are notoriously bad and they break all the time. So, but I also, as you said, they probably chose the outpost because they break all the time, and they're using this as a way of trying to stress test the outpost to make sure they're working. So, yeah. Tassiter asks, part of what makes it hard. Okay, that's what the Escape
Not a question.
asks. Yeah, you just put question. Whenever you put question in the chat with the bots on, it'll pull it up as if it's a question. Which is why I like doing the put a question in bracket. I know it's a question. Escape asks, how easy or difficult was it for you to find an org, or are you popular enough to make your own? Like some people, he's referring to me. Uh, Sin.
I say for me, I think, um, for me, I just, like, made my own. And it's just typically like people that I end up playing with, that I just have a group that I just end up playing with. I don't really like, it's more of like social, so just mainly like if you're on like and you want to join us, you can go ahead. I am in the process of making a more like serious one, but I think if you are trying to find an org, I think for one, like what I would do is maybe just like watch other streamers and like see how their orgs operate, because you get to see that in real time. You get to interact with the people who are probably in those orgs. That ways, because I know like for me, someone mentioned earlier like they're very antisocial. They don't really like talk to people, and I'm very quiet. So for me, that would be the best way for me to do it versus like talking to people in game, because I'm just not. So
Paulo.
Ah, well, see, I've been running an org for 10 years.
Okay.
So like, but I can talk to my experience of being invited first. So I didn't actually create the org that I'm in. Um, there was another person that made it 10 years ago, and invited me back before we had Spectrum and we just had like the IRC like chat in the RSI website. There was a guy going through literally inviting everybody who wasn't in an org at the time that participated in chat. There was a whole bunch of drama after that. Being invited is powerful. Um, having somebody say, "Hey, come join us, come check us out," that's incredibly enticing. Because if you have nothing, if you don't have a community, and somebody says, "Hey, we want you, come check us out," it's a really good feeling. Um, you have to be wary of spam recruiters that will just recruit literally anybody. Um, I think that it's kind of disingenuous when that happens. and you end up with communities that are kind of fractured and not cohesive. Um, but if you have a solid group of people that know what they're doing and like actually schedule things, um, you're gonna have a good time. Earlier, I made a comment about joining multiple orgs. I think that also is worth looking into. Um, be polyamorous with your org selection. Find groups that run things on different days of the week, different time zones, different kinds of events. There's a whole spectrum of like the Care Bears slash PVE slash industry people to the hardcore PvPers that care about KD ratio. And there's also within those, there's a scale of hey, we're all on now, let's just group up. And then you take an hour and a half to fly to each other and
Yeah.
actually group up and do things. Where it's like I call those like casual shenanigans groups where it's like, hey, let's just go do stuff, to the very, very structured and organized. Hey, we have an event on Saturday. It's going to start here. Make sure you have your uniform on, get your equipment together, make sure you have tons of ammo. We're going to go kill the sandworm. And it's going to be like a 4-hour event. Set your spawn to this point, right? It's very organized in advance, very clear what the expectation is, and then you go and join, and everybody's ready to go within about 10 to 15 minutes of the event starting, ideally. And there are people that enjoy far ends of that spectrum. Some people don't like the heavily structured expectation of the group where you shut up and listen to the commander kind of
Yeah.
thing. And some people like the really free form, like, hey, let's just go pet some quasi grazers. Like,
It's each their own. I do find that right now it's a lot more fun in my experience to be with the group that's a little bit more organized. It has a little bit more organization, simply because CIG's tools suck. So like having social tools that don't work, where you can't figure out, like, you can't. There's no way of grouping up with people. There's no way of like party markers don't work half the time, and you know. So having no organization means like, hey, we're gonna go do this, and everyone spends an hour to try to get there, and then someone phases through this ship or can't get quantum drive to work, and all sort of stuff. So, all right.
Yep.
Steve the Dancer asks, how do you feel about the release of new tech for this year? Like, do you think we're going to see new tech this year? Apollo, I'll start with you this one.
that's a vague question. I mean, we're getting a new flight model at some point. We're getting
think-
new ladder tech. I'm very excited for new ladder tech.
Okay, so
Um,
this is a you think we're going to get a new flight model this year?
I mean, probably at
Okay.
some point. The atmospheric thing at the very least. I don't know. Maybe it's next year. New tech. I just the biggest thing for me is social tools. That's all I care about right now. As an org leader that's been creating my own org chat in the game every single patch and then having it wipe and then having to re-invite all of the members every single patch and having only one person who can invite every member to that channel is rough. Not having an automated org channel is rough. They've fixed some things, but that comms menu panel is just really sorely lacking in functionality. That one button that is available that you see on your friends list being the "Hey, let's FaceTime" button. It makes no sense. Like, what? Why? Why is that there?
On top of that, like if I remember correctly, you still have a hard time unless they're in your. You can't add a friend in the game. You have to add the friend in the front end. So you can't even go to add somebody in game unless they're right in front of you or in your chat.
You
can-
you
can-
can, but it like works half the time. Like sometimes it shows up, sometimes it doesn't. It's just a gamble.
You can add them through Spectrum,
Yes.
which is the most reliable way that I've found to add friends.
Is it still
Uh,
/friend in chat to try to do that? Or
No, there's not.
Okay.
I've never tried that. No, but oh, in Spectrum?
No, not in Spectrum. I'm talking about in game.
Oh, okay. No.
Yeah.
You can add people in the main menu. We'll search the whole member list. Also VoIP. Somebody talking about VoIP.
Yeah.
Um,
They talked about that in pretty recently about how like they they know the background issue. It's a background issue. It's just they need to get the system set up for it. So hopefully it's a little better.
Yeah. Let's see. What other tech are we expecting? Like Genesis, maybe?
Maybe.
Maelstrom?
You think all these are coming this year though? That's the question. Is do you think they're coming this year?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I spoke to Chris Roberts at the LA studio when they were closing,
Uh-huh.
uh, and he was fairly confident about having Maelstrom by end of year,
Okay.
but I don't know. We'll see.
Sin, how about you? New tech. What new tech do you think is coming in? If you know any new tech.
I can't even answer this question. This is beyond my knowledge. This is beyond me.
I think the ladder tech's nice. I want to believe we're going to get engineering and Maelstrom. So making multi cruise ships actually work and giving us armor and other things like that. But I don't know. I think this year is just the year of stabilization. I'd be happy if freight elevators and ship elevators were fixed. If by the end of this year you have no more issues with transportation, like elevators and trams and such. The missions worked most of the time, like 95% of the time. The freight elevators worked 95 to 100% of the time, and your ship elevator worked 95 to 100% of the time in terms of not eating your ship. Call a ship, it comes up. If those four things were the end of this year, it would be a successful year because that would make the game playable, at least playable. I find that those four issues are the things that the most happen that cause the cascade of like I don't want to play this game anymore situations. So, all right, next question comes from Steve the Dancer, who asks, "What new ships would each of you like to see? What is coming at IAE?" Sin, do you have any idea?
I don't have any idea, but I am a huge advocate of alien ships, so that's
Alien
what I
ships?
want to see.
You want to see more alien ships?
Yes.
Right. Apollo?
Have you seen the Rylan?
The Raylan's being worked on.
Yes, I have. And
Yeah.
I want to I almost like got it, but I needed to know more information about it, but I'm really excited to see that one for sure.
The Apollo
In the name.
as an Apollo.
Yeah.
I want the Apollo to come out. With that, they're going to have to improve some things about medical gameplay. I know there are a bunch of medical orgs that are like crying out for proper medical gameplay again. They're like really struggling right now because no players are making beacons. There's no reason to. The Perseus. Perseus is really exciting. Just big ass gunship. Absolutely, 100% sign me up. I've got one in my hangar. I'll be really excited to fly it. Yeah, Perseus and Apollo. I think they've pretty well defined the RSI aesthetic, and so they're trying to finish a bunch of the RSI ships. We still have the Arastra and the Orion beyond that for RSI. I really want to see the Arastra coming out. Everything that it has, except for refining, I think.
Yeah.
We still haven't seen refineries on ships and the Galaxy.
We're gonna need those because
Yeah.
of base building. You'll need to be able to like take raw resources and refine them for base building. So there's got to be some refining for base building. So
Yeah.
Me personally, it's the Ironclad and the Perseus are the two big ones that I'm looking forward to. I'm glad the Apollo's coming out. It's not my ship, but I'm glad it's coming out. Yeah, that's about it. And I know the Perseus is coming out. I don't think the Ironclad's coming out this year, unfortunately. But what's that?
Release the Kraken.
Oh, the Kraken. That's true. I don't have a Kraken, but I'm glad it is being worked on. So, all right. Next question comes from Impasta. I'm gonna have to explain this because I don't think either of them know this joke.
Yeah, I do.
Chat heard that the Redeemer is Paul's favorite ship. Paul, would you recommend getting it for the new mission in 421? No. No, no, no. I'm gonna have to explain this to Sin. So this is going to have to be a bit of a history lesson because a lot of people don't know that the Redeemer gunship, the Aegis Redeemer gunship, is actually a ship developed by fans. It was developed by fans for a contest that was done early in the Star Citizen's career's existence called the Next Great Starship, which was done specifically to get more people who were talented to hire for CIG because they needed people. And as a result, the ship was created by committee because basically they made the ship as nice as possible to try to get as many people as possible interested in voting for their ship because they wanted to win the contest. And they did. The problem is that when you make a ship that everyone wants, it's going to end up not fulfilling all of the goals because it's going to have to eventually have weaknesses and other things like that. So I didn't like its aesthetics. I thought there were better ships for it. But when it came out, it was so badly designed that they basically had to break it in order to make everybody love it. So they just put big guns on it. And I hated that fact. And so everyone loved it because it's like, it's this gun, it's the ship that basically can win any fight because you've just got big guns. And so I consistently have hated this ship because it is a ship done by committee. And it came out, they just had to break it instead of redesign it to be proper. And now it has been nerfed into the ground for a lot of people. So it's no longer as good as it used to be because they had to sell the Paladin. And it has no place. And so everyone hates it. And people are like, well, Paul, it's your favorite ship. It's like, no, it's not. The joke, and this is partly Fastcart's fault. So you know Sin. You know him, Sin. So during a charity stream where I was doing 24 hours, basically a captain's table that I did for 24 hours where we rotated between different people to raise money for charity. Both him and another streamer called Fairasalt suggested that it would be funny because I hated the Redeemer so much that if CIG would give me a unupgradable, unmeltable, ungiftable Redeemer that I could never have. CIG was listening. I currently have a unupgradable, unmeltable, ungiftable Redeemer under the title Paul's Most Favorite Ship.
Incredible.
I love that.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It is in my hangar. I have never touched it. But that
You
means
have the purple Best in Show paint.
I do. And on top of that, it is legitimately means that I can never get rid of the game.
Yeah.
Because it's a game package. So it has the game and it's LTI. So it'll never disappear.
Amazing. Amazing.
Hate it.
Perfect.
And to add insult to injury as well, it has no lore. In fact, it doesn't has no lore. It has contradictory lore. So even the thing that I'm known for the most, it's like not even there because some sources say it was built like in the last few years, and other sources say it was built as far back as like pre-Mezzer era. So like 150 to 200 years ago. So it's like, which is it, CIG? If you're gonna make me hate it so much, at least you could do at least like the bare minimum of giving it some story.
Right.
Let me see if I can pull it up because I don't know if I can show it without doxing
alien
myself.
tech that they got for the engines. Such unique engine design.
Yeah, I mean, I actually, as a part of another fundraising, I said I was going to make a fan lore for it. So I actually came up with a thing that would work in the background for why it exists. And the idea I came up with was Mark 1 and Mark 2. That there was a Mark 1, that's just why it's older, and that was just a copy of the Prowler. And then the Mark 2 was sort of an updated version with new ideas, but it got caught in the wrong period, and there were a lot of problems with it, and it got caught during the end of the Mezzer era, so they had to like save it, and sort of it had a bunch of back and forths, and eventually got pulled back out of mothballs to be looked at and investigated. Okay, I'm pulling up my ships. Chips is game packages. Still says it. Yep, it's there. All right, here you go, chat. This actually works. Nope, it doesn't have There you go.
Paul's very most favorite chip. Wow,
Lifetime insurance
I
redeemer.
love that.
that's incredible.
Yep.
Wow.
Never say that CIG doesn't have a sense of humor.
Fair.
All right, let's move on to the next question. Shapasta asks, do the tooltips on the bottom right of the screen help? We talked about this a little bit. Apollo says they do exist, but they sometimes lack context, right? So, have you seen those, Sin, or have you turned them off long ago?
No, they're on, but a lot of times there's so much already going on the screen that like either gets missed or it's just like ignored, or I'm like, oh, there's a tooltip. Okay. And then I just like continue doing with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It matches the UI or it matches like where you are. Like when it pops up for me, I'm usually like in a hangar or like in the middle of doing something. So like it's kind of like hard to catch it and to actually like really pay attention.
Yeah. All right, Steve the Dancer asks, oh, nope, he's already asked that question. I don't know why he asked it twice. Fastcard asks, what is the worst advice someone gave you regarding the game? And why was it, what was it I told you? I already said it. It's the Paul's most favorite ship result. That's what it is. Sin,
Worst advice
that
that
Fastcard
maybe
ever told you.
that Fastcard has ever told me. You know, actually, Fastcard has never really given me any bad advice. He just tells very bad jokes. That's all. That's all.
that is Fastcard's brother. How about in terms of in general, like what any bad advice that was given to you?
I would just say not necessarily like to me, but I've seen people like maybe give the advice of like buying ships with like real money, and I'm just a big proponent of like you don't need to spend anything on this game. Anything that you want you can get in the game. Don't feel pressured to buy anything because it'll come to the game eventually, or you can just ask someone to use whatever it is that you want to get. So I would say that like you don't have to spend any outside money on the game.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm so against it that I'm one of those people who you'll hear a lot of folks say, "Oh, if you're going to buy the game, get the Avenger Titan pack." And
Yeah.
I'm like, "No,
Mhm.
don't even do that. Just get the $45 pack. All you need is the $45
Yep.
pack, and you can get everything else you need later because you
Yep.
can rent the Titan for pretty cheap. You can rent other ships for pretty cheap. There's so many other things you can do."
Mhm.
Apollo, what's the worst advice you've heard in Star Citizen?
Hey, you're a new player. Why don't you set your spawn home planet to Pyro?
I did it once for fun and I regret it.
Yeah.
It was like I think right after I joined the game, we had a patch reset. It was like in May. I remember this like it was yesterday. And I was like, you know what? I'll set my spawn to Pyro just for fun. And someone was like, you maybe don't want to do that. And I'm like, no, I'll do it for the lulz. Like, yeah, no problem. I hated every second. I could not wait until a new patch was up because it was awful, especially as a new player.
I've done it twice and I've hated it every time because it's like the problem was is I did it and then right before the patch where they started introducing script, I was in Pyro, so I would go to Stanton to do missions to get script, and then I'd have to, in order to even get the script to turn in for favors, I'd have to go back to Pyro, put all of this physical script in my inventory, and then fly back to Stanton and be like, please don't get blown up, please don't get blown up, please don't get blown up, please don't get blown up. I had any problems with that, but it was like, oh. I would say Pyro is not as scary as people make it out to be. It's pretty tame. In fact, I find it more passive than Stanton is right now. But it's just so much bigger and so much like less stuff. Like it just the resources there to get anything from ammo to armor is just non-existent. So you just can't really get anything done there. So
It's great for mining, and it's great for looting with the contested zone stuff. And if you want to get into the player market, you can take stuff from the contested zones, the ship components, and the armor sets that you can get, and you can sell them for millions of credits. So if you're willing to take the risk of running into a contested zone, it can be very worth your time to go do those. I've had some fun with those. Then they also have the outpost missions with salvaging, like going and repairing pipes at outposts with like the hand salvaging tool, which I didn't really know existed until I saw Matt Colville try doing it on stream. I was like, whoa, that's cool.
Um,
yeah.
All right, next question comes from Fastcard, who asks, Paul and Apollonaut, can I ask a favor? Please explain to Sin why I deserve commission for getting her on this show. Thanks. No, you don't, Fastcard, because literally Sin came up and I realized who it was after seeing her walk around at Quantum Vegas a bunch. I realized who it was when she walked up. And Sin, you can confirm this because people don't realize this. Am I tall?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Like people don't realize that they're like, you're like, oh, like 5'7", 5. I'm like, I'm 6'1", y'all. I'm pretty tall.
Yeah.
So
He's tall.
so Sin walked up and I was just, and she's like, oh, thank you for rating me that one time. And I took 2 times, like, this is Sinful Strife. What the fuck? And my brain didn't work. So when I saw that and Pyro or it was Fastcart mentioned something, and I was just like, wait, no, it's perfect to get Sinful Strife on for the next captain's table, because at the time I didn't realize it was next, it was the one afterward. But for the new player experience, it's like Sin's literally just started. This is perfect. So it's not Fastcart. You don't deserve a commission. You just deserve a good boy pat. You know, a good pat on the back. That's all. But thank you for coming on, Sin. It really is. It's been nice to have you on here. So, and hopefully more people will come go watch you now, because you're gonna be streaming after this, right? In like
Yeah.
like an hour or so.
Yeah.
All right. Paul Bunyan. No, it's just the people in Star Citizen streamers and creators are freaking tall. I never realized how tall they are, because I'm usually fairly tall when I'm around people, but when I'm around Star Citizen content creators, they're usually like
Everyone is so
6'6".
tall.
Yeah.
Everyone is so I had to sit in the front row because as I was, like, walking in to, like, sit down, I'm like, "There are like, I'm not gonna be able to see." I'm 5 feet for reference, so,
Yeah.
like, I'm shorty. I can't see anything, so I had to, like, make sure, like, I race to the front every single time, otherwise, like, I can't see anything.
Alexis Oxus asks,
Alexos.
Exos asks, what's the deal with Spaceline food? It's made of people.
It's got to survive long journeys. I don't know.
By the best food in the verse, it will always be, well, I won't say always be, it is and will likely continue to be Cruise. Cruise is the best food in game. Live or die. All right, Fastcard asks, what has been your most memorable experience with Star Citizen so far? And then it adds on, and why does it involve Fastcard? Funny enough, it doesn't. But then I'll start you with this one, then Apollo, then I'll go.
Oh, man. That's for me personally, that is a very, like, loaded question. Um I will say, for one, just like the community for one. Um, like I said, Star Citizen actually like really holds a very special place in my heart, being it was the first game that I streamed. I've met so many amazing people. It's gotten me so much out of my comfort zone that I decided to go to Vegas. I'm very like I have very bad like anxiety. I'm very like shy. And so I typically don't do things like that. But when they mentioned Quantum Vegas, I said, you know what? That sounds fun. I'll go. And I just bought my ticket. And then I went. And that's not something that I would do. So I think Star Citizen in general, I think, has brought me out of my shell. But then, like I said, just like the community itself, like the game is cool, right? But like it's not really about the game, it's about the community for me that has made the game truly special. So I think just I don't have like one specific moment. I think just the people in general
Okay.
for me.
Apollo?
Oh gosh. Um I mean, I learned about Bar Citizen existing, and then I linked up with, at the time, Citizen Ed from the Bay Area.
Hmm.
He was running events here, and I was working at Stanford at a summer camp, um, and there was a Bar Citizen happening. Like there was like at the end of camp, like on a Friday, and I was like, you know what? It's like right down the street, downtown Palo Alto. I'll go check it out.
Oh, that was nice.
Um,
See, like when I was living in the Bay Area, it was always in the East Bay. It was always like
yeah,
super over the mountain. So I'm surprised it's on the peninsula. That's the
yeah. Well, he was hosting stuff in Palo Alto at the time, at a place that's now closed, but I was like, you know what? I'll go check it out. And there's this, couple of old guys in a car meeting up at this bar talking about Star Citizen. I was like, I've been playing for like a couple of months, maybe. Um, and they were like super friendly, super generous. They're like giving me stuff. And I was like, whoa, what? What is like what's going on here? Why are people are meeting up in person talking about this game over food and beers and having a good time? Um, I was kind of taken aback. And then, now I'm running events in the Bay. Um, and there's another moment. I guess it's really just meeting people, but I've been playing with a guy who was in chat, Cray Bacon. Um, I met him at Port Olisar on a pad. I think he'd spawned there was a Cutlass Black or something on a pad, and I was walking up and I was like, "Hey, do you have a group?" And he's like, "What? There's voice chat?" Um, and we talked for a bit, and now we're running an org together. We'd been running it for like 8 years and never met in person. He's in like, you know, deep south, other side of the country. Um, and then we had a booth for our org at CitizenCon in LA. And that was the first time that I'd met him in person after 8 years of playing the game with him. And that was really special. Just hugging it out with this guy that I'd made, like, he's like my best friend.
yeah.
Um,
That's a weird thing
yeah.
about the internet that in my experience, especially with Star Citizen, is meeting people who you've seen on the internet, even talked with the first time. So it can be like years. Like I've talked with people at CitizenCon and at events that I've known for years that I've never met in person. But you meet in person, it's like, okay, yeah, there's no difference. It's just like now you're hanging out in person. So it was neat.
Yeah.
Um, I will say in game, most memorable experience was, this is going to sound kind of weird, but was when the first Arlington gang missions came in. And I actually talked about this on a CitizenCon. I was lucky enough to get my experience published in one of their videos for this. But we were in a Retaliator and we were fighting these the Arlington gang because we were trying to do it. The torpedoes missed. It didn't hit the target, so it was just the Idris. I think it was maybe a Hammerhead at the time. It was an Idris. It was an Idris. And we were being swarmed by Arlington goons, and our ship somehow got knocked out. Like the engine wasn't working, the power was dead, but we weren't dead. So we knew we were about to explode. So we get out of the ship. It's me and my friend Diablos. And we get out, we jump out through the torpedo bays. And as we leave the torpedo bays, the ship explodes. And
Oh,
our friend, who was, this is when the Cutlass Red had just come in, had a Cutlass Red. And so he was coming to pick us up because we knew he was coming to join us. So he comes in right as they explodes, and we were able to get into the side of his Cutlass as we get in, we literally like EVA in as he's taking fire, and we jump in, we like flop down, and we're like, go, 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 and he's just like gutting it out of there while being chased by these Arlington goons. It was like a movie. It felt like surviving in a movie. It was this great moment. And the only other things that have like kind of matched that is like the fight against the sandworm in Stormbreaker. The sort of like slow, like the all of the other creatures coming up, the music swelling, and all of other groups like fighting fighting these things. So
yeah.
it's.
I
But I will also
there is
say,
something. Okay.
CitizenCon LA 2023 was a very different experience because like I've been to CitizenCon before and I was just sort of known, people kind of knew me. That was the first CitizenCon where like every two steps I would take, someone would be like, Paul, you're the Astropub. You're the Astro Historian. I'm like, what? Why do people here know me this well? At one point, it was funny because I was sitting there talking with Meyer, I think, and we were like watching the screen, as things were going on, and someone walked by, stopped, turned around, and came back, and because they didn't even see me, they just walked by me. Someone came back and looked at me and said, "Are you the Astro Historian?" And I knew at that moment, this dude recognized me from my voice because I don't show my face typically on the Astro Historian. So he knew me from my voice. And I was like, did you just recognize me through my voice? And he's like, yeah. It's like, man, I have had way too much of an impact on some of these people's lives. So that was a humbling experience to be like, to be that well known by people. And because I know that like for every person who's like, you're Paul Shelley, there were like 15 other people who were just like, I'm not going to talk to him. He's probably really busy. I don't want to like too scared to come up and talk with me. So I was like, damn, this is weird. It's a weird experience. So. All right.
I wrote a long story I have a Reddit post. I guess I could put it in your Astropub Discord or content creators. I had fun writing it. Just a day of Siege of Orison with shenanigans. That was a very memorable day with shenanigans with the Animus missile launcher, and then fighting PvPers at Siege, making unlikely allies, having to deal with my crime stat, and then getting downed at Korea by another player, and then begging while I was downed with voice chat. I was like, please, I'm just trying to get back to Siege.
Nice. I have other reasons for when Siege first came out, the NPCs were so broken that you could just melee attack them. So I came up with an entire character called Senator Armin Strong, based off of Senator Armstrong from Metal Gear Solid, and I just run around. And the idea is I wore a suit, so I wore like just a regular suit, no armor, and I'd run around and I just melee the Ninetales. And as we got further along, every new platform, I would take off an article of clothing. So by the time we got to the final platform where we're charging in on the big boss, I was shirtless and I gave a rousing speech as we charged down the corridor into the open. And I want to say I actually was able to get to the big boss and I beat him to death with my bare hands as the end. It was such a cinematic moment, that one, but that was more of a like, the game was so jank that I could do that rather than an actual cool moment from the game. So, all right, I'm gonna ask this question. I'm gonna step away for 2 seconds. Elaine Anderson asks, what is your recommendation on the minimal best PC hardware? And what is the best starter ship and why is it the Redeemer? I'm gonna give you this, Apollo, and you don't have to answer the last part if you don't want to. Minimal hardware.
Minimum hardware for this game. I mean, there's a thing on the website that shows you the telemetry, where you can look at the grid of like GPUs and CPUs and RAM and all of that. I say 32 gigs of RAM. You need to have an SSD running the game. I recommend an M.2 if you can attach one to your rig. There are adapter cards that you can get to put in your rig to give yourself an M.2 slot if you don't have one. Get the fastest hard drive you can get the fastest RAM you can get an X3D processor if you can. But we're talking, okay, going back to minimums. I'd say probably like a 4060 or a 3060, 3070 maybe. I know people that run it on a 1080 Ti. Like, it's possible to run. If you want to get 60 plus FPS, you're gonna have to splurge a little bit on higher end components. Yeah, you could go lower. I'm recommending a 3070, but minimum 1080 Ti, 2070.
I honestly would say 1080 Ti's don't know, because the problem about the 1080 Ti is that they stopped supporting the 10 series. So
yeah,
like 2070 Super's what I had for a while. But
what are they saying for minimum here? Pascal just posted a link. 1060 minimum. Oof. No, yeah. You can find 1080s on like Craigslist and eBay for cheap enough.
I know a few
Um,
people that play and stream on a 1080, so it can be done.
yeah.
Yeah. I'll say
The biggest thing is a
as
processor.
yes.
Yep.
I,
You
I
gotta have a good processor.
I would say the thing is that as CIG continues to improve, like when they're working on Vulkan systems, as they start doing that, and as they continue to optimize the game, it becomes the requirements are going to get a little bit less. But I think it's going to end up still being a little like they say like this is the this is what CIG says for minimum system requirements. Windows 10, quad core CPU, Intel i7 Sandy Bridge or later, AMD Bulldozer or later. GPU is GTX 11.1 capable graphics card with 4 gigabytes of VRAM, 16 gigabytes of memory, and for like RAM, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and 150 plus SSD requirement. The SSD is a requirement. You have to get an SSD, otherwise, because it's the way the game's designed. So, so like they said, minimum graphics card is 1060, AMD RX 5700 or RX Vega 56 or RX 4600, Intel A380 or UHD graphics 730. Intel A380 is not too bad. That's still a little low. The recommended specs, those are the minimum specs. The recommended specs are DirectX 12, a i7 Sandy Bridge or later, or a Ryzen 5 or later, 32 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM, or 150 SSD. So, someone pointed out my friend 10 pound 42 is a perfect person to go to if you want to know anything about Star Citizen hardware requirements. He has done testing with all these sorts of things. He's one of the reasons why my current gaming PC is the way it is, and it runs Star Citizen pretty well. The one thing I will say is, if you are going to get Star Citizen and you're like, I'm going to buy a PC for Star Citizen, do not do that. Buy a PC because you want to play with the PC and do other things. Because getting stuff specifically for Star Citizen is probably not going to end up well. For instance, I currently have a 9070 XT, which is the latest AMD card, which is a good 16 gigabyte, medium sort of graphics card. It does well. I've got a Ryzen 9800 X3D. So I've got.
Oh yeah, there you go. Top of the line. But you're also running multiple monitors and streaming, right?
Yes. So and I have a separate streaming PC. So like this is the idea is that like that the gaming PC is like I wanted to max it out specifically for gaming, so I didn't have to worry about that as much. But that's me going for top of the line. Could you get less than 16 gigabytes for working for Star Citizen? Yeah. Would I suggest it? No. You probably want something that just for the future, more than 12 at least, or more than 8. Sin, any suggestions?
Basically what they say, like I said, I've also had this conversation plenty of times on my stream, and just make sure you got RAM and processor is what you need to focus on. Don't focus on getting the latest and greatest graphics card. You really want to make sure you have enough RAM and your processor is really good.
Yeah. Luckily, those are usually cheaper.
Right. I was just gonna say that, that's the cheaper end, so that's good.
78. It was a 7800 or 7600 X3D. What the
78.
7800 X3D is a great example. It's super affordable. It's a little more expensive. It's still like I think $200+, but
340 right now on Amazon.
So, but I mean, you can get a card for that same amount of price. Like 370s are around that price, maybe a little bit more expensive. 360s are 3060s are, 70s are. Like you can get a 9060 XT, which has 16 gigabytes of RAM for about the same, a VRAM for about the same price, around 350 to that kind of stuff. So the The important bit is for Star Citizen is your CPU, your RAM, and your SSD. Those are the three things that are going to matter the most. Eventually, cards will matter, but not until they get Vulkan in. So
I also mentioned not using Wi-Fi to play.
yes, yes. So that's
They
just
have a lot of object streaming coming in through the network, and it's going to be way worse with desync if you're not playing on Ethernet.
All right, last question. Not last question. So next question. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 7 questions left. Escape asks, mind regaling us with the tales of your most wholesome and most toxic moments in the verse. Follow?
Wholesome? I would say, oh geez. There's a lot of instances of people giving their time and giving their credits to new players. Just we don't want to see people suffering. I mean, it's anybody that helps other players and then is like, oh hey, go sign up as a guide, go do more of this. Specific things. We had an event, or we were running Siege of Orison. We had like 18 of us in a party. We were sitting in menus and trying to fish for low population servers. One of our members joined a server and it was literally just him. 1 out of 100 at the time, I think. Or 1 out of 200, whatever the server cap was back then. And we were like, okay, everybody join on him. Everybody's on him. We all joined in. We were all at Orison in our uniforms. And within a couple of minutes, there was another group of people all in their own uniform that were like forming up around behind us. And we were all sitting at the very top of the showroom, the showroom roof at Orison. And we're like, who are you guys? They're called the Widowmakers now, but that was Black Widow Company. They'd been around in PlanetSide since like 2003 or something. And we ended up sort of making allies with them. We all added them to the party, and it was like 40 of us that were running Siege that day, and that was really, really awesome. Just randomly making friends. Toxicity? I mean, we all know the name of the group that's really toxic.
Yeah.
There's one particular instance of that I recall was them having a spreadsheet of tracking how many starter ships they killed during a free flight. Yeah.
That's kind of messed up.
It's very messed up. And they had like giveaways at the end of the month based on whoever had the most starter ship kills at the end of the free flight. I'm just like, wow, you guys are really like actual scum. Cool.
I will say that group is generally, I've never seen them personally. Like they're such a small group that they cast such a big shadow simply because they're so obvious about it. They love to promote it themselves. They do it specifically because they want attention. They think any attention is good attention. Sort of. Sin, most wholesome and most toxic.
I'll start with the good. I mean, I'll start with the bad and
Okay.
end with the good. So for me, I think purely mine, like in game, I haven't really had any bad issues. I think it's mainly because I'm a streamer. I've been stream sniped since May by like the same like 2 people. So, I would say, like, that's probably, like, my most toxic, but I know that they're just doing it for attention, so I just kinda, like, just ignore it and just keep moving on. And then I'll say my most wholesome moment, I think, I mean, I feel like I have wholesome moments every time I play the game, but it's just simply like, whenever I ask a question, I'm being met with, so many people trying to help. Or like one time, this just happened the other day. I was flying. I had someone new on the ship with me, and I can't fly that well. And I landed my ship upside down. and I couldn't get it to go the right way. And they're like, well, I can do it. And just, it's just like little stuff like that of like helping someone versus being like, well, dang, like you suck or you can't drive. Because I've played other games, I've played other MMOs, and typically that's met with like people cracking jokes at you. But I haven't really had anyone make fun of me for being bad at the game. And if they have, it's all in jest, you know? So I think that part's really cool.
Nice. See, you are because you're new. Wait until a year from now when you actually have experience at flying. Because like, there's an entire joke in my chat about how I suck at flying. Where there's an
I
audio.
think I'm going to forever suck at flying. I don't think I'm ever really gonna get better. I'm known as like the passenger princess. I don't know. I just can't do it. I like the minute that I am in a ship and I'm flying for more than 5 minutes, I'm like, can someone else take over, please?
I there's an audio clip from Independence Day where it's like Randy Quaid's character who's drunk, who's like, I can fly, I'm a pilot.
Yep.
That goes off every so often when I'm trying to fly because I'm like, I'm not bad, I'm not awful at this. So honestly, I haven't experienced a lot of toxicity. I can't even think of a time when I've experienced super toxic stuff. It's to the point where like if I can remember a couple times I was frustrated by people or other things, but I was just like, you can't let it you can't let it bother you, especially as you said, Sid, you're a streamer, you're gonna get it no matter what.
Mhm.
It's gonna happen.
Yep. Yep.
um my majority of the time has been mostly toxic at the game more than anything else.
Yeah.
um
There's a lot of pretty
Wholesome.
anti-streamer mentality in some groups.
No, it's prevalent in the entire community. Like the entire
Yep.
Yeah.
community, there's
Yep.
large vocal sections who hate.
In global chat even,
Yeah,
I've read it where people are like, "Well, oh, everyone wants to be a streamer now." And it's like, "Okay, I'm sorry you suck. I don't know what to
yeah.
say."
I mean, the answer is honestly, it's like I'm sorry that you're terrible at being a person and no one wants to hear you because you're so boring. But it's not my fault. You were boring. Just get it. Global, yeah, I
Right.
say global is probably the biggest toxic, and I just turn F12 when you get into
Yep,
the game. Hit F12
immediately as soon as I get in the game, boop.
because I mean, for us, it's a legitimate concern because like they start spouting off racist, homophobic, other stuff. Like you get banned from Twitch for having
Yeah,
that in the background. Just having it in the
yeah.
background and catch you a ban. So
I
I'm
remember
like,
my first time really looking at global chat, and I was streaming and I wasn't really paying attention, and I just happened to look over because the chat's just like moving and I'm like, what are they talking about? It was the most unhinged things I have ever seen in any type of chat. I'm like, is anybody watching this? Like, no one's complaining about what they're looking at. Everyone's just like ignoring it. Like, what is happening right now?
CIG doesn't moderate it, so everyone just turns it off and doesn't bother with it, which is a problem because I think if you had moderated chat, people would use the chat more often to talk to each other. Right now, it's so toxic. People just like, nope, I don't even. I'll use something else.
You get
Um,
600 people with one global chat across all of Pyro and Stanton. There's no local chat. There's so many issues, and they know of it. Benoit's working on it.
I mean, just having moderators, like I know CIG has game masters, so like they could easily start moderating it or had some simple tools, but um, but I would say it there's not one wholesome experience. I would say in general, whenever there is a new player who is discovered to be a new player playing, you will always see people be like, would you like to come join me in this adventure? Because I love seeing new players, especially new content creators, even tiny content creators, find the game because I've seen the same reaction from like gigantic streamers and YouTubers and tiny little, baby streamers and YouTubers when like they first experience their first multi-crew ship. Like they'll come in and be like, oh, this is nice. This is a fighter, whatever. And then you're like, hey, someone's like, hey, you want to see Hammerhead? They're like, sure. It's like, it's the one a big game, big. And they walk in, they're like, there's no way you can walk inside that thing. It flies, it works. It's like, yep. And it's not even the biggest ship, and seeing people get inside the like the Idris for the first time and just losing their minds, the scale of Star Citizen. There was a really good moment in that I remember. It was right after the Dune game came out. After the Dune movie, the first Dune movie came out. I remember watching a YouTube where it was a guy who said, I went to Star Citizen Arrakis, and it was just him in his little Aurora flying down to Daymar and getting out and be like, this is Arrakis. This is like the movie. And I was just like, that's adorable. I love this. I love this little man who's like so excited about seeing a movie that he finds it in Star Citizen. It's just like, bless your heart, young man. Bless your heart. Yeah, I think it's just how we treat new players, especially in Star Citizen. We're much more accommodating than I've seen in any other. Like, as you said, Sin, a lot of times it's like, get good, get, you fucking suck, get better at this, Whereas most are just like, nah, you're doing great. Good job. You want to see something else? You want to do this? So.
Yeah, no, like I literally like crashed and blew up, and everyone's like, "No, it's fine, it happens." It's like, what? Why aren't you guys more mean to me? I don't understand.
They'd be mean to me, but it would be mostly out of jest if I blew everybody up. They'd be like, don't let Paul fly. Execute. The Inforunner's channel is in chat, and we still give him shit because he didn't pay attention for like 5 seconds and ran straight into an asteroid, and we still give him shit for doing that. We just don't let Execute fly. He'll fly us into an asteroid, and he's like, it was the one time, and I was distracted. So, Escape asks. Oh no, Fastcart asks. We all know that Paul loves the Redeemer, but what sins in Apollo's favorite ship currently in game and favorite yet to come? Sin, what's your favorite ship in game?
I have like 2. My first one would have to be my Zeus CL. I absolutely adore that ship. And then my other one would have to be my Sayulin. For some reason, that is the only ship that I can land without crashing. I don't understand it because that's the most difficult ship to fly apparently to other people. But like I get in that one and I'm like, I'm fine. Every other ship I have trouble landing, even my Zeus, and I love that thing. But yeah, it's the only ship that I can land.
Apollo?
Okay, you're forcing me to like actually pick a ship and not friendship, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so okay. Aesthetics wise, it's alien ships all the way. It's gonna be the Sulin or the Kartual or the Santokiai. I think the Kartual is amazing for aesthetics. I also like the Saber. But right now, my top ship is going to be the Starlancer TAC.
Okay.
It's just probably the best mission running ship for small groups of people doing PvE stuff. It's great. I think they did a fantastic job with it.
I mean, the meme answer for everyone from me, because it's not the case, is that the Redeemer is my favorite ship. But my favorite ship is the 2. One, it's the Freelancer series. Everything in the Freelancer series is good. But the Corsair is my favorite because I'm a Drake fanboy. Absolutely a sucker for anything Drake. I have this within arm's reach for a reason. I love it. So, you can't go wrong with any Cutlass, including the Cutlass Steel. Yes, it is a garbage proposition for money, but the Cutlass Steel is legitimately one of the best ships I've ever flown in terms of forgiveness, and I've never seen it explode. Like, it's never failed me. Is that a Freelancer? Nice.
That's a Freelancer Max painted with the guide system paint. I'm working on getting the chrome in,
Nice.
but I'm working on it. It's getting there from GRDF.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Cool. I was going to ask if that was JRDF street. That's nice. What about Paul? What about the 315P? 315P is great, but it is a good, in my opinion, the best starter ship you can get, just because it's reliable.
There we go.
All right. Oh well. Okay. So I'm being pestered by my own org. Like, Paul, when are you going to plug your own org? I do run an org. It's called the League of Relic Enthusiasts. We go around and we find old artifacts and stuff like that from in Star Citizen. But we also do other things. Like, we're doing an event tomorrow. We always do them on Sundays where we get together and we do something. I think we're doing mining this week just because we want to participate in the event, and we haven't really done a lot of mining. So go check us out. It's League of Relic Enthusiasts on Spectrum. You can also find us on my Discord. So if you want to join that. And if you're watching this after the fact, it's in the the description is the link to my Discord. So and my League of Relic Enthusiasts, yes, or lore, because
For the reason.
let's see. Fastcard asks, oh no, it was already asked. Rigsy asks, Sin, as a new player, how do you feel about CIG's marketing approach, e.g., bundles and pricing? Has this affected your purchasing habits in a positive or negative?
I have two answers. I have like my business answer and then I have like my player answer. My business answer is that I think that their marketing is fantastic. They do a very great job at what they do. They do a very great job at FOMO and making you feel like you need to buy this right now. My player answer is that it sucks. And I think it's just simply because people feel compelled to like I was around, I think I had maybe just started streaming when the Idris was out, and I was watching so many streamers like just freak out on stream trying to get this ship. And it's like, we just talked about how, their marketing model, how they, try to suck you in, why you don't need to buy this right now. Like and still people continue to fall for it, and I think that it also is the biggest cause of like when you hear people talk about the game, scam citizen. I've gotten that a lot on like my TikTok when I stream because people, oh, what's this game, Star Citizen? Oh, scam citizen. And it's just like, if you let a game con you out of your money, that's your own problem. Like I said, like I really wanted to pledge the Raylan, but like I'm not going to do that, for one, because I don't know enough about it, and for two, like why? Like realistically, why do I need to buy this with my real money? I don't. And so I think that's a big thing. So like I think that they do a very good job at it, like, if I'm being fancy with it. But as a player, I think that it's a little bit predatory, but they do a good job at what they do. And there's a reason why they've made as much money as they have. So I will say it's kind of like affected my buying habits in a positive way, because normally in games, especially a game that's like you don't really have to pay for stuff, I will typically put money into the game because I feel that it's giving me value. So like if a game is free and they have like stuff that you can buy, I will, just to kind of like show my support. With this game, I don't feel there's a need to do that, mainly because everything is too darn expensive. I don't want to pay for that. So, I think it's affected me in a positive way, and I try to do my best. Like, obviously, if you have the money, you want to pay for it, go ahead, right? No one can tell you what to do with your money as long as it makes you happy. That's what's important. But if you don't have the money, don't feel like you need to get it, because you don't. So that's my thoughts on that.
Awesome. That's good. A good way of putting it. I think we kind of talked about that a little earlier about how you just need a starter pack and it's all you need and stuff.
Hmm.
And you're right. Like the thing I think that a lot of people don't internalize is that if a ship is released, you will eventually be able to buy it in game.
Hmm.
So there's no need to run out and get it. All right, we got 4 questions left. Dave Nova asks, many of my friends have attempted to play but felt bored from flight travel. How do you streamline the experience so they stay engaged, or quick content that's back to back for their goldfish? For the goldfish, I'm going to say something controversial. While you can improve some of that experience, you don't have to. There is going to be some content which is just you sitting and waiting for things to happen, a little bit. Every game has it, but Star Citizen's not a game built around the idea of quick dopamine hits. It's a game built around planning, and like a great example of this is mining. Most of mining is flying between the stations, flying to your location, finding the area you need to mine, scanning it out, and then mining. Mining, in the process of mining, is only probably 10% of the actual experience of mining. Because once you finish mining, you suck it up, you find another rock, and then you take it back to a station, and then you bring it down into the elevator, and then you set it up for a refinery, and then you wait for the refinery to be finished. Um, Star Citizen will have some downtime. It's built around that idea. And like anybody who's played an MMO knows that a lot of MMOs do have a lot of downtime, traveling between locations, waiting to get your group up to go to a dungeon or a raid, You know, one of my favorite things. You should mention Final Fantasy 14, Sin. Like one of the coolest things about Final Fantasy 14 is that it lets you be bored enough that there is an entire on Fridays. I know somebody who does a rave in Final Fantasy 14 in their own action every weekend, every Friday, and they play actual music, and people come in and they dance, they show off their latest armor or outfits they have, and it's like the game allows that to happen in the sense that there's no reason it doesn't, and it's sort of like allows it for like being bored, you know. Um, okay, we gotta have stars. That's the whole point of the Astropub. Was the idea was to form a place where people could come in, enjoy, and grab a drink and do things other than just go out and grind. Um, I don't know. What's your thoughts, Sin, on how could you get people? You know, what should CIG do to streamline the experience to stay engaged for people who are less who want that dopamine hit?
Yeah, that's something that I've actually like pondered about because I say the same thing like dang, now I got to sit here for 7 minutes while I, quantum somewhere. I think just like I mean, it's not in the game now, but I think eventually like you will have stuff to do in the game because engineering will be a thing. But I think until that happens, I mean, I don't really think there's much that you can do. Luckily, like I said, I don't really play by myself, so I don't have the issue of like sitting around and not doing anything because I'm almost always with someone and obviously we're, going to be talking that easily passes the time. I think maybe I know that there are some ships that do have like little like kitchens and like stuff in like the back, so I think maybe just making that stuff usable, even if it's something stupid like turning on water or not. Like, you know how many people would do that? Me, one of them. So just adding like little small gameplay mechanic stuff that maybe isn't like a full feature, but just something tiny that makes it worth it for you to walk around your ship. Because right now there's really no point in getting up from your seat in Quantum.
That's a good point. Apollo.
I see somebody saying, I think they could stand to essentially double the quantum drive speeds across the board. They did, or they like
It used to be
they
worse.
they
Yeah.
yeah. It used to be if you wanted to fly a stock Carrack from Microtech to Crusader, it would take you like 17 minutes to get there. You can go take a shower, make some coffee, and come back, and you'd still be flying. Um, and yeah, no, they did make it way, way faster. They made every single um, stock quantum drive able to make it across the system without refueling. You used to have small ships had to refuel if they were going to go from Microtech to Crusader.
At least
Um,
once. Yeah.
stop. Um, yeah, so they changed how fuel works and they changed the speed of quantum drives. It is way better now to the point where I don't even bother upgrading my ship's quantum drive. Whereas before that was like an essential thing that you had to do with your size 2 and size 3 ships, like get the XL1, get the TS2 quantum drive, and now those are available. But the only way that you can get them is by doing contested zones or by going to the Hathor sites. Um, they're loot objects only, and you can't buy them. Um, I think the waiting time. I'm a huge proponent of travel should take time. There should not be instant travel, uh, because time taken to get from point A to point B is the core is one of the core pillars of an economy. If you have instant travel, teleporting stuff, there's no reason for there to be higher value here versus here. Um, that said, I do agree we do need mini games. Somebody said the stratagem hero
Mhm.
on Helldivers 2 on the
2.
ship is fantastic. Um, we have Hyper Vanguard Force
Yeah.
on the website. They just need to put it into an arcade cabinet to put into our ships. That would be incredible.
Or a games option on your Mobileglass where you can pull up games to play in your Mobileglass while you're going
Right?
through.
We have a pool table on the Carrack.
And on the
We have
the Starlancer. So
yeah, on the Starlancer. Um I want to be able to tune in on my TVs on a 600i to player broadcasts.
Yeah.
We have the Reliant Mako, the news van ship. I want to be able to take a player broadcast from that and just show it on my ship. Or like have a reason to go to the bar in the game because there's stuff playing on the TVs at the bar, news stations, stuff like that. But I think that the original question here was how do you keep a dopamine addicted player from getting bored? It's tough.
Mhm.
It's really tough. This game does not respect your playtime. A lot of the game loops are just slow and boring. They're probably not going to like Industry. It sounds like this kind of person likes combat. They might be coming from uh, Apex Legends or like Overwatch or competitive shooters in general. This game doesn't provide that really unless you jump into Arena Commander and do just Star Marine. You jump in, you queue up, and you're in a lobby and you're shooting people within a couple of seconds. The Persistent Universe does not do that very well. If you do like ship combat, you can string ship combat missions one after the other for an entire day if you want. That can also get boring. Depends. Being a turret gunner is not the most exciting thing. If they're an adrenaline junkie, have them try racing. Ship racing is a really awesome thing that this game has. Not in the PU, but in Arena Commander. There are fantastic racing communities out there. XGR, Black Star Legion, I think they're called. And Atmo Esports. Fantastic organizations, groups of people that are doing racing. I do racing. I play keyboard and stick. It's a lot of fun. Try Arena Commander, I guess. That's it.
I will say the thing that CIG can do to improve some of those flight times is to increase the volume of gameplay in the local system planets. So you're not having to fly across the whole system to do one mission because that's really the 7 minute flight times that suck. Like if you can do an entire day just going from moon to moon, going to different parts of the planet, all that kind of thing, you'll have a good time. But there's also a lot of other things like they talked about this in the Star Citizen Live recently. They want to talk about like broadcasts, in-game broadcasts from different in-game radio stations, music, and Sin mentioned things like engineering being there, so you can like manipulate things. In-game games, mini games would be a good idea. You could have set up things like shooting ranges if CIG could do this. There's a lot of things they could do that would allow for people to do stuff while they're in flight. Having sim pods so you can play Arena Commander while you're in game, so you can just kind of go do those things if you want to while you're waiting. Long travel times. But I think most of it is just like I said. I think there's just this game is going to slow down sometimes, and people are just going to have to accept that sometimes the same game's going to slow down and make you think a little bit before jumping into match after match after match. It's not going to be that sort of instant hit that you can do. But I think you're also right, Apollo, that the game just sort of has boring points right now. There's just things you can't really grind out without getting really bored with it. It needs to be more pizzazz, more dynamic stuff, more things in there that makes it feel better. So. All right, we've got two more questions because I know you got to go here, Sin, so here shortly. So the next question is from Cody Fox. What is the ground vehicle you most want to see in game? Paulo, start with this.
Trucks and motorcycles.
Like actual like flatbed trucks,
Yeah, like freight. Like
freight,
I want to be able to
an
carry a 32 SCU box with a truck.
Okay.
Rather than needing my Atlas to move boxes.
So you want the Ranger, and you want a like actual box ship.
Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah, I want two-wheeled vehicles, and I know they're struggling with the physics for two-wheeled vehicles, and I know it's not the easiest thing. And I know a lot of other games that do motorcycles kind of cheat with the physics on them. Um, I don't know. They want to actually physicalize everything about the two-wheeled vehicles, and I don't know. Do they have to? Do they really have to? Maybe. I don't know.
If they do, I
Um,
know they want to do the two wheel physics. I know that what they'll if they manage to figure it out, they're going to be a lot more than just the Ranger. There's going to be a lot of
mhm,
motorcycles that exist. So
yeah, I had a TR or the whatever the little cargo box one. I had that in my hangar for so long, and now it's in my buybacks. Um, I want it. I want there to be a motorcycle. It sounds super cool. Uh, yeah, that and trucks. We have enough combat vehicles and buggies. I don't know.
yeah.
We saw the Grey Cat MTC came out, and people were like, "Okay, cool."
Sin, what ground vehicle would you like to see in game most?
Um, To be honest, I don't really fly or drive ground vehicles that much, but I would have to agree with Apollonauts' answer, a flatbed truck, mainly because when I go to bunkers, I want to be able to drive my flatbed out of that and then bring some bodies onto that flatbed and bring it right back to my ship. I think that would be pretty cool. But like even just aside from that, I want to be able to like maybe drive around the main cities.
Okay.
I really wanna be able to do that, like, Area 18 is a very beautiful city, and I just wanna be able to drive in Atmo and just look at all of the pretty lights around me. I'm that person in GTA that just drives around and stops at the stop signs and stops at the lights and, turn like, I'm that person, so maybe not a lot of people want that, but I really want that.
All right, the last question for today, and I'm sorry, Solaki, or Solak, we've got time constraints and that kind of stuff, so I had to end a little bit of this earlier. We still answered a lot of questions. I'll start with you on this one, Sin. Cody Fox asks, would you prefer that CIG let you live in an apartment in one of the major cities, or live in your own base off the grid?
I like options. Um, but I think for me, I would want to live in an apartment in one of the major cities. I would want to be surrounded by other people. I think it opens up opportunity for you to meet other people in game or for you to meet friends or maybe even some type of like role play thing if that's what you're into. But I can also see the benefits of, if someone does, role play or they do play by themselves, to be able to live in the middle of nowhere and be like a little hermit in space.
Apollo.
I think it's the millennial dream to have a homestead, right? There's
Be in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
a lot of people just want to be out in the middle of nowhere with their farm and be able to be self-sufficient. Um, I don't know. We have a lot of beautiful vistas in the game. There's a lot of beautiful places to set down and make a base. Um, I want to be coordinating people with all of these spread out small bases and then gathering stuff from them. I've got a friend that his dream is to have this little like repair shop out in the middle of nowhere. Um, and just have him like he wants to collect the super rare blueprints and stuff for like the crafting the crafting system and just be like, yeah, he's this hermit that lives on this mountain and he's got this like super rare blueprint and you have to go find him. Here's his coordinates. Good luck finding it. Like that sounds awesome. Um, but there's also like from the Expanse, there was the data broker
Yeah.
of like, yeah, go in this shop, ask for a Sherpa, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, go to the back room in this like back alley in the city. Like that sounds super cool. Having your own space at all, no matter where you put it, is very, very enticing. And there's a lot of people in the community that are into base building games. Astroneer, Valheim, Satisfactory,
Dune.
um,
Dune
like
Awakening.
Dune Awakening. Oh my gosh, yeah, like everybody in those communities. As soon as we get base building, we're gonna see a massive surge of player activity in this
Oh,
game.
we're gonna see a lot of folks. Like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm with you. Like, one of my dreams of crafting is to make very rare booze. Like make
Mm,
alcohol. It's super rare, like champagne, whiskey, whatever. Like just make stuff that's super rare that I can then like sell to NPCs. But also, hey, players might want this super rare whiskey that you can only find from this one. Like, no one would really want it, but I have it. If you want a rare one, I got it. That sort of thing. But
yeah.
I am not a base builder. I am not the kind of person who's like, I'm going to build a base and then be self sufficient. So for me, it's you know, Cyberpunk 2077. Give me an apartment somewhere in the middle of a big city where I can just go out and do stuff if I need to, and come back and chill, and have people come in and enjoy that kind of thing. So, and my friend Loken's in chat, and Loken loves building bases. He fell in love with building bases with Dune Awakening, so I know he's gonna absolutely build a base in Star Citizen when that comes out. So, but thank you so much to Sin and Apollo for joining us here today for this, fairly long session. If you did enjoy this, make sure you check out Sinful Strife on Twitch, twitch.tv/Sinful Strife, just like it's spelled there. And what was it was Soul Armada, if you want to check out an
Yes.
organization. And what was the other one you were plugging?
The Bar Citizen. I run the California Bar Citizen Discord. BarCitizen.sc has a map of all the Discord servers. Join your local community of gamers. Go hang out with Star Citizens. I mean, you'd be surprised how generous and kind a lot of them are when you're meeting up in person, having dinner and beer and talking about the game.
Do you have a watch party set up yet? Do you know how many
I
people?
do actually. So San Jose, California, we have it's a place called Guild House. Guildhouse.gg is their website. They have 40 Star Citizen capable gaming rigs at location, ready to go for us. I'm going to make sure that they're updated and performing properly before the event starts. We're hosting a watch party for CitizenCon Direct October 11th. If you check Southwest, some flights to get here are going to be $50. So round trip, $100 to the San Francisco Bay Area. There's a ton of stuff to do here. We're going to have a watch party, hoping to get some content creators. I am talking with Xylo
Nice.
next week about things about it. So more news to come.
Nice. I was just saying, because here in Texas, we're going to have one too for Austin. So, like, we're going to have one. I don't know exactly where it's going to be. I think it's going to be at Pinballs in Austin. So, and we're going to have a lot of folks from all over Texas coming down. So, we're in that as well. So, check your local Bar Citizen. They may either your state or your local Bar Citizen may be doing a watch party. So, you can have people coming in from, and CNG will actually be sending out to some of them, if it's big enough, they might actually be sending some folks out there to go join you for their watch party. So, um, so yeah, check that out. And if you did enjoy this, make sure you check out us on Twitch at twitch.tv/theastropub and on YouTube at the Captain's Table Podcast. We do this live on Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. We'd love to have you join us live here. And make sure if you liked anything, make sure you leave the comments down below, like the video, subscribe for more content, and hit the bell to be notified when these release. Thank you for watching, and like I say every time, hope to see you someday. Black.